Hey guys, it's Raleigh, and we have another regional lore intro today. For this one, we will be talking about the Sea of Sorrows and the coastal areas adjacent to it. Once again, I want to address the discrepancies the game has in regards to zones being in certain regions. In this video, I'm including the zones Bloodtide Coast and Sparkfly Fen, since Bloodtide Coast is designated as a Crichton map, which isn't too far off, but still feels unjust with how far south it stretches, and Sparkfly Fen suffers from the same issue that Mount Maelstrom does, where it is designated as a Maguma jungle map. As a region, the Sea of Sorrows plays a more passive role, but it is still important since many events in-game take place around its waters, and specifically Lion's Arch, being a pirate town, has a history that involves certain incidents that happened in the Sea of Sorrows. While we won't get into too much detail here, it is still crucial to give at least an outline of events. Also, the novel Sea of Sorrows, which highlights Kabaya Mariner's journey, will be touched on at times, since many of those events play into the larger world of Guild Wars. As usual, please beware of spoilers, but with all that said, let's just get right into it. The Sea of Sorrows is a sea surrounded by Kryta, the Steamspur Mountains, the Tarnished Coast, and of course, Ore. Being a mostly aquatic region, this area sees many of the underwater species like whales, sharks, jellyfish, armored fish, electric fish, and even dolphins. In the deeper parts of the water, you will find a lot of seaweed and coral, making the Sea of Sorrows rather colorful. As mentioned before, the adjacent areas to the sea sport many sandy beaches and a tropical flair in general. A couple of major events have impacted the Sea of Sorrows and the surrounding areas. When the Kingdom of Ore sank in the Cataclysm, the region saw a huge surge in shipwrecks. This, along with the sinking of Ore, merging the Bay of Sirens with the Gulf of Jarek, led to it being renamed to its current name. When the Elder Dragon Zaitan awoke and Ore rose, the Risen Kingdom caused a destructive tidal wave known as the Great Tsunami, which washed over nearby coastal regions, including Lion's Arch and the Battle Isles in the south. In recent years, the Lion Guard, sworn protectors of Lion's Arch, have built many fortifications among the islands within the Sea of Sorrows, most notably Claw Island, which stands as the last line of defense for Lion's Arch from naval attacks to the south. Bloodtide Coast, south of Lion's Arch, sees many hostile pirate groups struggling for control, and even further south is the Sparkfly Fen, which, being very close to Ore, has a massive undead Risen presence, but also sees the largest population of Highlake around, with the Zinto Holy Grounds being one of the largest known Highlake communities. Let's have a look into some of the history of the Sea of Sorrows. The first known major event in the Sea of Sorrows was the sinking of Ore in the year 1071 AE, which, as mentioned before, was known as the Cataclysm. While Ore sank, ending the invasion of the Char forces into the human-owned territory, it is unknown if this had any major impact on the landmasses around it. In the aftermath of the Cataclysm, Corsairs occupied whatever little land was left in search of any treasure they could find. Then, in 1219 AE, Zaitan, the undead elder dragon, awoke, dragging Ore from the depths and causing the Great Tsunami, flooding not just Lion's Arch, but surrounding areas as well. This led to many Crichtons fleeing north to the village of Shaemore and building Divinity's Reach as the new capital of the human kingdom of Kryta. In 1229 AE, Port Stalwart, one of Kryta's coastal settlements, was attacked by an armada of undead ships from Ore. Many of the townsfolk tried to escape using their own ships, but most were all sunk before leaving port. The town was completely annihilated, and what few villagers remained fled into the Crichton hillside, while those who had fallen became risen and joined the undead dragon's horde. A year later, in 1230 AE, Corsairs and pirates slowly occupied the remains of the now drying Lion's Arch, and Kabaya Mariner rebuilt the city of Lion's Arch, as well as forming the first Captain's Council. He dedicated years to rebuilding the city rather than sailing, which earned him the respect of the town and the honorary title of Commodore. In 1256 AE, the Crichton Crown Prince, Eder, led a large naval and land assault to reclaim Lion's Arch for Kryta in defiance of his father, who had recently passed away. Eder captured Kabaya, his crew, and his family, but his conquest was thwarted when the Crichton navy was attacked by dead ships from Or. Kabaya once again led the defense, uniting the citizens of Lion's Arch with those of Kryta to stand against the Ryzen, destroying their fleet and officially earning his city's independence from the Crichton nation. Around 1270 AE, the underwater races, like the Quaggan and Crate, slowly started encroaching on the shores around the sea, fleeing from a deep-sea danger taking over the unending ocean. Specifically, the friendly Quaggan build many underwater villages along the shores of the Sea of Sorrows. That brings us close to today. While many pirate groups are occupying the areas around Lion's Arch, and more specifically in this case Bloodtide Coast, in the south, the Ryzen Horde is making their advance north of Or along the coast, and the Lion Guard is defending against these invading undead Ryzen forces and their dead ships. Let's look at a few of the maps surrounding the Sea of Sorrows. South of Lion's Arch lies Bloodtide Coast. The northern side sees a lot of pirate activity, most of which are hostile to any trespassers, and even the infamous Inquest are conducting nefarious experiments in the area. Quaggan are trying their best to survive amongst the many land cultures and peoples of Tyria, but nearby Inquest are up to their usual mischief. Laughing Gull Island off of the coast is occupied by pirates who are led by the Hydra Queen. As one travels further south, the Ryzen undead threat becomes apparent, and their numbers grow steadily the further one ventures. The Dredge are fighting off Ryzen in a large mountain, and Sylvari are trying to keep the Ryzen corruption at bay in an oasis to the southeast, while an isolated Hylake tribe to the southwest is trying their best as well. Going further south, you step into the Sparkfly Fen. At the most northern edge, you will find Fort Cadence, under assault by a dead ship from the Ocean's Gullet. South of the fort, in the middle of the map, lie the Zinto Holy Grounds, the largest settlement of the Hylake. Many outlying camps are trying to help with securing safe passage for Hylake refugees coming to stay at the temple, while being attacked by more undead Ryzen. In the southeast, Sylvari are acting against the Ryzen and have set up multiple camps in order to stay their ground against the undead. The Inquest also have a hidden base in the vicinity. The southwestern shore is the site of a large Ryzen attack by a massive undead dragon named Tequadal, which the local forces are banding together against in order to defeat him. For the last map, I will mention Claw Island. While not an active open world map, it does come into play during the story of the game. As I said before, this fort is the last line of defense for Lion's Arch against any attacks from the sea. It sits directly outside of the harbor of Lion's Arch and has withstood many Ryzen attacks over the years, truly proving how effective of a defensive measure it is. That about wraps it up for the Sea of Sorrows. Again, this region is more of a supporting pillar when it comes to the world of Guild Wars, and more specifically Central Tyria, but many affairs have been influenced by events that include this watery region, and may perhaps lead to more interesting stories later down the road. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye guys!